Jumatatu tarehe 24 ya mwezi huu wa 6, juma la 12 katika kipindi cha mwaka wa kanisa. Tunakutana tena katika kuangazia machache kati ya mengi yaliyotendeka katika wiki hiyo Kilitrujia, pamoja na mengi ambayo pengine si Kilitrujia lakini yanagusa imani na maadili yetu. Karibu, tuko hapa studioni kama kawaida na mwenzangu leo. Tumepata mmoja, mwingine hayupo.
Tumsifu Yesu Kristo. Mpenzi mtazamaji wa runinga ya Capuchin, nimerudi. Sikuwepo juma lililopita, lakini leo nikafanikiwa kuwepo hapa. Karibu katika kipindi chetu cha Yaliyotendeka. Tuko ange tukujuze mengi yaliyofanyika kwa wiki iliyopita. Karibu.
Na ikiwa leo ni siku ya pili ya wiki hii, kanisa linamheshimu Mtakatifu Yohane Mbatizaji na kumwenzi yule aliyemtanguliza Masia. Na tunawapongeza kuwatakia laheri wale wote ambao wanaitwa kwa jina hili Yohane Mbatizaji, na hatujui kama Yohane yule ambaye anaitwa Yohane anajua amechukua jina la Yohane yupi. Na hata hivyo waumini wa parokia Mtakatifu Yohane Mbatizaji eneo la Mangu tulikuwa na wao juma lililopita, na hii Jumamosi tulikuwa katika jimbo Katoliki la Machakos katika eneo la Ikalaasa, parokia iliyokuwa inaadhimisha miaka 50 ya maisha yao. Tutaendelea kujua kuhusu hayo. Kabla ya hayo, siku ya Jumanne kanisa Katoliki hapa kwenye jimbo kuu Katoliki la Nairobi katika huduma zake za kikatoliki na hasa katika msaada shirika la CRS, Catholic Relief Services, ama huduma katoliki za msaada, shirika ambalo limekuwa hapa nchini kwa miaka mingi, lilikuwa na ibada takatifu ya misa na kufungua njia ya kufanya kazi katika maeneo mengi ambayo wanafanya, wakiendelea kufanya upya mbinu zao za kufanya kazi. Ibada hiyo ilifanyika katika nyumba yao kuu katika mtaa wa Westlands hapa jijini Nairobi. Kutanguliza yaliyotendeka ni mmoja kati ya wale wanafanya kazi hapo, Mama Margaret Kahiga. Tusikie alikielezea huduma hizi ama kazi ambazo wanafanya CRS hapa nchini.
So many counties and trying to look at the different programs that are actually looking at the issues that are actually affecting the most vulnerable in communities. These range from programs that have to do with malnutrition. We are also looking at programs on water, sanitation and hygiene. We also have programs that are looking at how do we care for our children, especially for those children, those orphaned children. And we have a program called Changing the Way We Care that we are working both with the Catholic institutions and also with the government to make sure that we are able to give the best care possible to those children.
Sister, kama ushaikutana na wanafanya kazi wa kikundi hiki cha CRS?
Labda niwe mkweli ni kwamba sijakutana nao, lakini nimejua kwamba kuna kikundi kama hicho, ila sikuwa naelewa zaidi nini walichokuwa wanafanya. Lakini nilipotazama na nilipokuwa najaribu kuangalia ni mambo yapi ambayo wanafanya, ni kikundi ambacho kimekuwa kwa muda mrefu. Labda mambo mengi ambayo labda yanafanyika kwa kanisa hatukuwa tunayajua. Ndio maana labda runinga ya Capuchin ipo kutuwezesha kujua kwamba kanisa ni kati ya viungo imara vya nchi yetu ambavyo vinajaribu kupigana na majanga. Kwa mfano, kwa sababu ninapowasikia kazi ambazo wanafanya ni kuwasaidia hasa wale maskini walioko katika nchi zetu na hasa katika zile sehemu kame za nchi yetu. Na nimekuja kugundua kwamba ni kikundi ambacho kinasimamiwa ama kinasaidiwa na maaskofu wa kutoka wa Amerika. Kwa hiyo ni kama KCCB ya Kenya, ni government ya, ni kikundi ambacho kinasaidia, na ni vizuri kujua kwamba kuna makundi kama haya ambayo yanaendelea nchini, na tunaona kwamba wanafanya kazi nyingi sana hasa katika hizo sehemu ambazo zina mambo kama hayo ya ukame, ukosefu wa chakula, watoto kutopata chakula cha kutosha, malnutrition. Kwa hiyo niseme ndio nimewaelewa kidogo kutokana na sasa nilipokuwa nafanya utafiti kwa jua zaidi. Naam.
Ndio tunasema kwamba kanisa inafanya mambo mengi, machache yanaangaziwa kutokana na uzoefu wa sisi wa Kenya kupenda siasa na wanasiasa. Na huduma za kanisa mara nyingine inaenda bila kusema. Wanasema kuhusu lishe, kuhusu afya, kuhusu watoto kuwalinda, na wako katika kati ya maeneo mengine ambao wako jimbo Katoliki la Turkana, jimbo Katoliki la Isiolo, jimbo kuu la Kisumu na kule jimbo la Malindi. Na akielezea zaidi kuhusu huduma hizo, Bi Khadija Karama alielezea malengo ya kikundi hicho na jinsi ambavyo wanakutana na watu wa kawaida kule mashinani. Tusikie Binti Karama.
When it comes to when we say we know as an agency or as CRS, we implement through partners, and Catholic Church is one of the partner that we really do the work. And I think His Grace, when he came on board, he actually mentioned the fact that we don't fish and give the fish to them. We actually teach them how to fish. And this is, true to what CRS does. It's about local leadership, building capacity of the people who are on the ground to actually do the work. And that is what makes us as CRS very unique, because we build the capacity of the local partners on the ground for them to be able to reach, the vulnerable groups in the community. So that's, briefly, just to say how we do it.
Wanasema pale katika kibango hicho ambacho nyuma yake Bi Karama kwamba imani haijui mipaka ama haina mipaka.
Naam.
Huyo nakaka na Muislamu anafanya kazi na CRS.
Niseme hilo ni kanisa Katoliki kwa ubora wake, kwa sababu kanisa Katoliki halina mipaka. Ukienda kwa mfano, ukiangalia, na si kwa ubaya, kwa mfano watu wanaofanya kazi katika makundi ama institutions za kanisa Katoliki, sio lazima uwe Mkatoliki, bora tu uwe utafuata mtindo na sheria ambazo zimewekwa kwenye hiyo institution. Hawana tatizo na kwamba watakupa nafasi kufanya kazi katika lile kile kikundi. Tunaona kwamba kuna kwingine lazima uwe, kama ni kikundi unafanya tuseme kwa Kiislamu, lazima usilimu ndio uwe mmoja wao, ama uvalie yale magwanda yao uwe kubalike kule. Lakini ndio nasema hapo ni kanisa Katoliki kwa ubora wake, kwamba katika kuwasaidia na kusaidia jamii, kwa sababu naona ndilo lengo kuu la maaskofu wala wa Kiamerika. Hawaangalii ni Wakatoliki tu, kwa sababu si Wakatoliki tu watakuwa na shida hizo ambazo tumezitaja. Tunaona kwamba ni watu wa kila nafasi wamejumuishwa kuhakikisha kwamba ule msaada unapoletwa unahudumia kila mmoja, kwa sababu hata ukiangalia labda wanaotoa msaada wakiwaletea wale maaskofu wanaweza kuwa sio Wakatoliki tu, ni watu wa dini mbalimbali, ama labda hata wengine ambao labda wako tu na mahali, hawaendi kanisani lakini wana mahali na wanatoa, philanthropist. Kwa hiyo nafikiri ni jambo nzuri kuona kwamba hawabagui, kwamba wanampa mtu nafasi, na tunapomsikia anapotamka maneno na zile titles za wana kanisa, tunajua anazishika vizuri. Kwa hiyo anapokuwa kwenye ile kazi, anajua mimi niko hapa kwa kazi na lazima nifuate taratibu za sehemu hii ambayo nimepewa kazi. Naam.
Alionyesha furaha yake katika kikao hicho baada ya misa Mhashamu Askofu Edward Burns, ambaye anakaa katika bodi ya CRS. Yeye ni askofu wa jimbo Katoliki la Dallas kule nchini Marekani, Texas. Tusikie furaha yake akiongea katika hafla hiyo.
With our efforts at the Bishops' Conference, we need to express our appreciation for all those who serve CRS, because through you do we live out our commitment to the gospel, and that is to uphold the dignity of every human life and to raise everyone to the dignity to which they were created. For as we serve the people of Kenya and beyond, we serve them because they are created in the image and likeness of God. For there will be a day we will hear the words, "For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me." I want you to know the commitment of CRS in serving the people of Kenya. It's important that you know that we are going to be with you. We're going to be with you as boots on the ground. We're going to be with you in spirit. We are going to be with you in prayer. And we thank you for this opportunity, not only to share our commitment to all of you, it's our commitment to Jesus Christ. It's our commitment to the gospel message. It is the commitment of carrying out the mission of
boots on the ground. Maana yake nini sister? Askofu anaonyesha furaha yake hapo.
Anaonyesha furaha yake, na anaposema boots on the ground ni kwamba muwe tayari kufanya kazi ama majukumu ambayo mmepewa. Sijui labda unaweza ukaongezea zaidi, lakini nafikiri kwamba wao ni matumaini kwamba wale watu ambao wamewekwa huku, kwa sababu wao ndio wanaelewa zaidi shida za jamii ama Wakenya ambao wako katika sehemu ambazo zinahitaji msaada wao. Wako tayari kufanya kazi inavyotakiwa, kwamba wanawahimiza kwa sababu wanajua kwamba wanapofanya vile wanaungana naye Yesu Kristo aliyesema ni kwa kupitia wale ambao wana shida tofauti ambapo tutakutana naye. Na ndio maana wanasema we are here to complete the mission of Jesus Christ. Kwa hivyo nafikiri ni jambo ambalo wanahimizwa wale wafanyakazi wa pale kwamba karibieni mfanye kazi na sisi, kwa sababu tuna nia moja ya kufikia wale, lakini hatuwezi wafikia tukiwa Marekani. Lazima tuwapitie nyinyi. Ya sijui kama una jambo la kuongezea hapo.
Nasema kuhusu kuinua hadhi ya maisha ya sisi hapa Afrika. Najua kwamba kanisa la Marekani na ulimwengu wa kwanza tulivyokuwa tunafundishwa shuleni ni kwamba wameendelea sana, kwa hivyo wanaza kuhifadhi na kusaidia, na ni mfano bora tunaofundishwa na wale kwamba wanaweza kujinyima kusaidia wale ambao hawajiwezi sana, na tunawapongeza. Kwa niaba ya kanisa hapa nchini KCCB, Mhashamu Askofu Maurice Muhatia Makumba, mwenyekiti wa baraza hilo, aliongea kuhusu kanisa la Kenya na mambo matatu aliyogusia ambayo kanisa la hapa Kenya linasaidiwa kupitia kwa msaada wa CRS. Mhashamu Muhatia.
CRS has been engaged in strengthening governance for purposes of efficient and effective evangelization of the local church. Secondly, strengthening resource mobilization in the local church. Resource mobilization, again, for purposes of evangelization. It is significant that this is going on in the relationship between CRS and the church in Kenya. The church in Kenya, yes, governance is strengthened, but apart from that, also we look for means to continue with evangelization. I find this two very important areas of collaboration between the local church and CRS, that will look into the future and promote the real purpose and the real reason why the church exists in Kenya. The third reason is a question of response to emergencies. You are aware, for example, in Kenya recently, we've had a serious problem of flooding. When you talk about flooding, you must talk about Kisumu. You can't talk about flooding in Kenya and not talk about Kisumu and be fair. You'll only be fair after you've talked about Kisumu. And Kisumu, we have the plains, and the plains in Kisumu, water is coming from the mountains, Nandi Hills, then it comes and floods, but that's not all. As it goes to Lake Victoria, there is again the backflow. So water is coming from up, and water is coming from down, and the people are found right there. So the response of CRS to these emergencies is also an important area of collaboration which we must appreciate, and we want to thank CRS very much.
Mafuriko ni mojawapo ya huduma ambazo tawi hilo la kanisa Katoliki linasaidia wale ambao wameathiriwa. Sister, ulijua hayo kule Kisumu?
Huwa najua Kano Plains. Kuna sehemu inaitwa Kano Plains ambapo tuliona kwamba nyumba nyingi ziliweza kukua kwenye maji, na pia sijui Bundarangi kama iko sehemu ya Busia, sijui kama under Diocese of Kisumu, I'm not very sure.
Busia itakuwa iko jimbo la Bungoma.
Okay. So tunajua kwamba hilo liko, na inasikitisha kwamba mambo haya yote yanafanywa na kanisa yakishirikiana na mashirika kama CRS, lakini najua kwamba watu wengi hawajui. Kwa sababu wakati ambapo labda kuna mambo kama hayo yametokea, labda wanapata ni makundi labda ya kisiasa ama nini ndo wanaonekana sana, kwa sababu media, secular media doesn't address such things. Lakini inafurahisha kwamba makundi kama hayo yamekuwepo na yamekuwa yakiwasaidia wananchi na bila ubaguzi wa nani ndiye nani. Na vile vile labda tunahitaji kuonyesha mengi ya ambayo mashirika kama haya yanafanya, kwa sababu ndio hapo itajulikana kwamba kanisa, unajua watu wanataka kuona kanisa katika siasa, na msingi wa kanisa sio siasa. Msingi wa kanisa ni kumsaidia mwananchi katika mambo ambayo ni ya msingi, kama kwa mfano shida, matatizo na imani. Kwa hiyo nafikiri mambo kama haya tukiendelea kuyaonyesha itakuwa vizuri zaidi. Naam.
Na hatimaye katika hafla hiyo, mwakilishi wa Baba Mtakatifu hapa nchini Van Mhashamu Askofu Mkuu aliongea kwa niaba ya kanisa, akiwa msimamizi wa Baba Mtakatifu, kwamba kanisa popote ulimwenguni linafanya kazi kama zile kupitia kwa vikundi visivyokuwa vya serikali. Ujumbe wake Van Megen.
NGOs, Catholic NGOs, more than any other organization within the church, are exposed to movements and ideas which are profoundly non-Christian or even atheist. Members of NGOs, like CRS, work among people from different religions, Muslims, Hindus, and otherwise. But on the other hand, the donors financing many of the projects are mostly of Western origin, thus secular or even atheist by nature. And both sides have their expectations and demands rooted in their own convictions and cultural values, which at times do not coincide with values held dear by the Catholic Church.
Muhtasari wa ujumbe wake?
Kulingana na mimi naona kama Askofu Mkuu Van Megen anajaribu kuonyesha kwamba pamoja na kwamba tunapata misaada, lakini mambo yetu ambayo ni ya kanisa ya Kikatoliki lazima tuyatilie mkazo, kwamba imani yetu haitayumbishwa kutokana na yule anayetufadhili, kwa sababu unajua nyakati zingine kuna wale wa masharti nakumbuka wakati mmoja, wakati walikuwa wanasema wakati sheria the High Court walipopitisha sijui nini to do with the LGBTQ, walikuwa wanasema ni kwa sababu wameshinikizwa na Marekani ndio maana wanakubali. Kwa hiyo nafikiri Askofu Mkuu anajaribu kuhimiza kuwa sisi tuko na kile ambacho tumeitwa kufanya kama Wakatoliki, na kwamba pamoja na kutakuwa na sheria, lakini vile vile wanapotoa misaada lazima msimamo wetu ubaki ule ule. Nafikiri sijui unaonaje?
Ni kweli kabisa kwamba yule ambaye anatoa zawadi hapaswi kuweka vizingiti ambavyo vinapinga imani na maadili ya wale ambao wanapokea. Hasa sisi Wakatoliki na hasa hapa Afrika wanakuja wakati mwingine na masharti mengi na yakipinga Injili, yakipinga maadili yetu, tunapingana nayo hata sisi. Kwa niaba ya hao wote ambao wanasaidia wahitaji hapa nchini, tunawapongeza hao wafadhili na tunawaombea baraka na heri njema kutoka kwa Mwenyezi Mungu. Huduma Katoliki za misaada. Kutoka huko kuna huduma Katoliki za elimu, ambapo katika chuo cha Tangaza hiyo siku ya Jumamosi, wanafunzi wa zamani katika ofisi yao ambayo inahusika na uongozi waliandaa kongamano la siku moja kuendelea kujifundisha na kufunzana kuhusu ufadhili wa elimu. Ibada hiyo ya misa baada ya ibada ya misa iliyoongozwa na Profesa Stephen Mbugua ambaye ni Vice Chancellor wa chuo cha Kwea ama chuo cha Kikatoliki Afrika Mashariki, aliongea kuhusu nafasi ya hao viongozi. Tusikie maneno yake Profesa Mbugua.
That we must bring change to the society Even in today you see the conflict that is arising, so that we can be agents of dialogue, of mutual understanding, so that everybody feels as part and parcel of our nation, of the humanity and of value to every process in our own leadership. A model is a person who stands for good and the excellent standards that every other person wants to follow and to emulate. So when we start as models, it is not only for us, but what we do attracts the others and makes them good.
Sister, model ni nani? Anaongelea kuhusu model.
Model labda ni katika tuseme kwa maneno tu ya kuelezea ni kwamba ni mtu unayemtizama na kuna mambo kadha wa kadha ambayo unaangalia aidha anavyoongea ama tabia zake ama anavyofanya mambo yake. Kuna kile ambacho unaangalia unasema nami pia ningependa kuwa kama yeye. Kwamba ni kielelezo na tabia zake na mienendo yake inakuwa kama kioo cha jamii. Kwamba anapoangaliwa ama tuseme kwa mfano kama ni vijana ama wale anaohudumia wanapomwangalia wanasema kwamba anachofanya kinaridhisha ama kinakubalika katika jamii. Naam.
Ni wengi katika watawa ambao kama alivyoelezea Sister Consolata Alo wanapitia katika mfumo huo, waandaliwe ili waende kuwezesha wengine, wanawezeshwa wakawezeshe. Tusikie maneno yake Sister Alo Consolata.
It is meant to give scholarships to the Catholics, the students who are priests, sisters, brothers, and lay people who are working in the Catholic institutions. Now, when the scholars graduate from the program, they become automatically the alumni of the program.
Sijui kama kuwa umefaidi ama
nimefaidi kwa scholarship lakini sio ya na nafikiri kwamba wengi wetu tumesoma kutokana na hizo scholarship kwa sababu naam, tunamshukuru Mungu kwa wale ambao wanajitolea kwamba wanaweza, kwa mfano kama kikundi hiki kinasaidiwa na familia wanajiita Podcast, ni familia nafikiri iko Germany ambao wamejitolea kusaidia katika huduma za elimu kwa Mkatoliki yeyote, na hasa labda wale kulingana na sister wanaofanya kazi katika institutions za kanisa. Kwa hiyo nafikiri ni jambo nzuri ambalo linasaidia kwa sababu tunajua dunia ya sasa hivi kama mtu hana elimu utaweza kuongelesha nani? Makundi ambayo tunaenda kuhudumia ni wasomi. Kenya tumebarikiwa kwamba ni idadi kubwa hasa ya vijana wako shule, wamepitia shuleni. Hata utapatana na watu manamba huko na anaongea tu Kiingereza vizuri, jambo ambalo halikuwepo huko nyuma. Kwa hiyo nafikiri wanaposisitiza kuhusu masomo ni jambo nzuri, na tunahitaji wasaidizi wengi, na vile vile labda hata Kenya tunaweza jifunza kutoka kwa hao. Pesa ambazo watu wanaringa nazo wakionyesha huku mitandaoni na wangesaidia katika mambo kama hayo. Nafikiri ingesaidia sana.
Mmoja waliosaidiwa na mpango huo ni Bwana Patrick Maina ambaye alikuwa mzungumzaji mkuu katika hafla hiyo. Tusikie ushauri wake Bwana Maina.
But for me to become a servant leader, I need to allow people to tell me areas of improvement.
Wow, ati unaweza kukubali kuambiwa makosa yako ama namna ama sehemu za kuwa bora zaidi.
Naam, nafikiri hakuna, in English we say nobody has the monopoly of knowledge, of leadership. Hakuna mtu amejitosheleza akamaliza. Kwa hiyo tunapokuwa katika hasa sehemu hizo za uongozi, hata ukuwe tu karibu, ukaribishe watu wa kuambie, kwa sababu kuna mambo mengine utafikiria wewe unafanya na kumbe kuna mwingine anajua zaidi na hata kwa njia ya urahisi rahisi kufikiria kuliko hata vile labda ungefanya. Kwa hiyo nafikiri anahimiza servant leadership, si ile ya ubabe. Kiongozi ana ubabe, anahimiza ule kule uongozi wa Yesu Kristo. Nafikiri Yesu Kristo alihimiza kuhusu kiongozi ambaye ni wa humility, nini? Mnyenyekevu kwa mfano wake. Na kwa hiyo nafikiri anasisitiza hilo. Naam.
Hiyo ilifanyika, hayo yalifanyika kwenye jimbo kuu Katoliki la Nairobi, chuo cha Tangaza, na wakati huo kule Ukambani, jimbo la Machakos, katika parokia hiyo ya Mtakatifu Yohane Mbatizaji walikuwa naadhimisha miaka 50 ya imani katika parokia hiyo, na furaha ilikuwa ya kutosha kutokana na idadi kubwa ya maharusi waliofunga ndoa mbele ya mhashamu Askofu Norman Wambua Mng'oo. Mmoja wao Aaron Mwenda na bibi yake walishuhudia furaha zao. Tusikie kuhusu furaha hiyo.
Mimi ni bwana yake Esther, anaitwa Esther Ongeli Mwatinda. Leo nina furaha kubwa kwa sababu leo tunaungana tukuwe kitu moja, na tunaomba Mungu atusaidie tuendelee mbele na imani yetu isianguke.
Sehemu ya harusi na mwenzetu hayupo,
angetuelezea
zaidi furaha ya wanandoa.
Wanandoa. Nafikiri kama kulingana na vile Aaron anavyoelezea, nafikiri kuna furaha fulani ambayo wanapata. Kwa mfano endapo vijana ama msichana wa kike na wa kiume wamelelewa katika imani ya Katoliki, walikuwa wanapokea, wanahusika katika mambo mengi ya kanisa, lakini kutokana na kwamba walishikana wakakuja kukaa, ile we call come stay, kwamba wamefungiwa mambo fulani katika kanisa. Kwa hiyo wanapofika mahali ambako wanaweza kuamua kwamba liwe liwalo, tumeamua kwamba tutafunga pingu na tuhalalishe ndoa yetu. Kwa hiyo nafikiri huo ndio utamu wa kufanya jambo lile, na tunawaombea kwamba hilo ambalo ni tamanio la moyo wao liweze kufikia, kwamba wafurahi, waungane hadi mwisho, wasije wakatengana, kwa sababu siku hizi kutengana imekuwa kama kawaida. Kwa hiyo tuwaombee ili Mungu alinde ndoa yao. Naam.
Yalifanyika hayo katika jimbo Katoliki la Machakos hiyo Jumamosi iliyopita katika parokia ya Mtakatifu Yohane Mbatizaji eneo la Ikalaasa, na wanasema jina hilo linamaanisha pengine mti kwa wale ambao wanajua lugha hiyo ya kule Ukambani. Sherehe hiyo tulihudhuria pia kupitia kwa wenzetu walioenda kunukuu hayo. Na ikawa Jumamosi, ikawa jioni, ikawa asubuhi, tukaamkia Jumapili ya 12 ya kipindi cha mwaka, ambapo ni Jumapili ambayo ilikuwa na dhoruba katika ujumbe wa Yesu katika Injili, na dhoruba ambayo inaendelea hapa nchini kuhusu Gen Z na mpango wa fedha ama finance bill ambayo imepitishwa na bunge. Na hapa studioni leo tuna baadhi ya hao Gen Z watuambie wanayohusika nayo, kwa sababu ujumbe huo ulitajwa na maaskofu takriban 3 hiyo jana, na tutakuangazia yote hayo baada ya kitambulisho hapa katika Capuchin TV tunapokuangazia kuhusu yaliyotendeka. Baada ya kitambulisho, Gen Z studioni kuhusu finance bill.
Queridos hermanos y hermanas, quisiera que en este mes oremos por los que huyen de su país. Habrá más que viven las personas forzadas a abandonar su tierra, huyendo de guerras o de la pobreza. Se une muchas veces el sentimiento de desarraigo, de no saber a dónde se pertenece. Además, en algunos países de llegada, los migrantes son vistos con alarma, con miedo. Aparece entonces el fantasma de los muros, muros en la tierra que separan a las familias y muros en el corazón. Los cristianos no podemos compartir esta mentalidad. El que acoge a un migrante acoge a Cristo. Debemos promover una cultura social y política que proteja los derechos y la dignidad del migrante y que los promueva en sus posibilidades de desarrollo y que los integre. A un migrante hay que acompañarlo, promoverlo e integrarlo. Oremos para que los migrantes que huyen de las guerras o del hambre, obligados a viajes llenos de peligro y violencia, encuentren aceptación y nuevas oportunidades en la vida.
Tunazidi kumshukuru Mungu kwa zawadi ya mapadri wetu wa Capuchin ambao kwa muda wa miaka 50 ya uinjilishaji wameeneza habari njema ya upendo kwa watu wengi. Wamemhubiri Kristo kwa watu wengi. Na Kristo ameguza maisha ya watu wengi kwa mahubiri ya mapadri wetu. Tuombee shirika letu la Capuchin, Mungu azidi kuwabariki. Na wanaposherehekea miaka 50, Mungu azidi kuwa pamoja na hao. Tuzidi kuwaombea kila mmoja wetu. Wakati unasali, kumbuka kuombea Capuchin wetu ambao wamesambaa kote kote ulimwenguni wakihubiri habari njema.
Tuendelee kufanya kazi. Paybill number 510678, account name capstv.
This June, Capuchin TV's spotlight will twinkle at the Prince of Peace Benedictine Abbey in Tigoni, Limuru. The abbot and the monks of Prince of Peace Benedictine Abbey cordially invite you to witness a sacred milestone. Join us for the priestly ordination of Deacon Daniel Waweru Gakuya OSB from Our Lady of Consolata Kagumo Parish in the Diocese of Muranga, and Deacon Basil Eric Menya OSB, who hails from St. Rose of Lima, Amukura Parish in the Diocese of Bungoma.
Roho wako Bwana aliongoze daima milele iwe
On the same occasion, the monks will concurrently celebrate the diaconate ordination of Brother Adrian Louis Nyamrinda Omundi OSB of St. Peter's Bumala Catholic Parish in Bungoma Diocese, and Brother Bonaventure Albert Odhiambo OSB from Immaculate Heart of Mary Ndori Parish in Kisumu Archdiocese. The ordination celebrations will take place on Saturday, the 29th of June 2024 at the Prince of Peace Benedictine Abbey in Tigoni, Limuru. Holy Mass will commence at 10 a.m., presided over by the Right Reverend George Mudaka, OFM Cap, Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Garissa. Mark your calendars for this beautiful celebration of faith. Join us in the spirit of prayer, joy, and community solidarity. The event will be streamed live on Capuchin television and its corresponding Facebook and YouTube timelines. Capuchin TV congratulates the Benedictine monks of Prince of Peace and in a special way the four monks Daniel Waweru, Basil Menya, Brother Adrian Omundi, and Brother Bonaventure Odembo upon your ordination. Keep watching Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity.
On Thursday, 4th July, the management of the Holy Innocents Tasia Pre-Primary and Junior Secondary School, that is located at Tasia Estate in Embakasi East, off Outer Ring Road, in Outer Ring Deanery, in the Catholic Archdiocese of Nairobi, welcomes you to their annual prize giving day. This event, which will start with the Holy Mass at 9 a.m., will be graced by Bishop Simon Peter Kamomoe, the Auxiliary Bishop of the Catholic Archdiocese of Nairobi. This event will be live on Capuchin TV and its correspondent social media platforms. Keep watching Capuchin TV, your Catholic identity.
I will give you shepherds after my own heart, who will lead you with knowledge and understanding. Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 15. In response to God's call and with immense joy and gratitude to the Almighty God, the Provincial Superior Father Paul Puduva, Mary Mother Province, the Regional Superior Father Biju George, Sacred Heart Region, and the members of Vincentian Congregation in East Africa cordially invites you for the ordination to priesthood of Deacon Philip Rao Ochieng. He comes from St. Francis Xavier Parish, Parklands in the Archdiocese of Nairobi. His home parish is St. Paul's Mbaga in the Archdiocese of Kisumu. And diaconate ordination of Brother Joseph Masharia from Christ the King Parish, Nanyuki, Archdiocese of Nyeri. Brother Lindini Matthew Puthenpuyayil from Thalassery, Archdiocese of Kerala in India. Brother Benjamin Gitau from Sacred Heart Parish, Dagoretikona, Archdiocese of Nairobi. And Brother Newton Wafula Bwire from St. Cecilia Catholic.
Karibu tena mtazamaji wa Capuchin TV kwenye studio zetu. Ni makala ya Yaliyotendeka hapa Capuchin TV, na ikiwa jana ilikuwa Jumapili ya 12 ya kipindi hiki cha mwaka wa kanisa, Injili ya Yesu ilikuwa inaongea kuhusu dhoruba ambayo Yesu mwenyewe alijipata pale na wanafunzi wake. Na ni Jumapili ambayo tunaendelea kusikia kuhusu dhoruba ya kisiasa, dhoruba inayohusikana na mambo ya fedha baada ya bunge kupitisha mswada wa mwaka huu wa 2024. Na kutuanzia katika dhoruba hiyo alikuwa mhashamu askofu Simon Peter Kamomoe akiwa katika kanisa ama parokia ya mama yetu wa Consolata eneo la Westlands kuhusu Gen Z. Yote hayo yalifanyika jana, tuongea na wao ambao baadhi yao wako hapa studioni. Tusikie kwanza ushauri wa mhashamu askofu Simon Peter Kamomoe.
And let us remember to pray for this generation, the Gen Z, you know them. They are our sons and daughters, aren't they? Also, Mother Mary may help us to listen to what they are saying. And they say something, we only pray that they will be well guided. That the Holy Spirit will also guide them, because they are also Christians, I believe, many of them. May the Holy Spirit guide them. And we pray for our government not to react to them, but to respond. There's a big difference between reacting and responding. Let us pray that they, all of us, we are parents, government especially, and all of us, let us respond. Let us not overreact just because maybe we have the power. They also have their own power. And I think you realize the Kenyan population, over 75% are in that generation. So let us not underestimate their power.
Mhashamu Askofu anaongea kuhusu uwezo, nguvu za vijana hao, na kabla hatuja waruhusu wajitambulishe, mwenzake ama askofu mkuu katika jimbo kuu Katoliki la Kisumu, ambaye ni mwenyekiti wa baraza la maaskofu hapa nchini KCCB, Mhashamu Maurice Mohatia Makumba, pia alikuwa na habari. Tusikie mawazo yake.
We are aware our young people are on the streets. We are calling them the Gen Z. They are saying they are on the streets. They are concerned, they are voicing their concerns about the finance bill, which is currently being discussed in Parliament. They are saying it does not take their concerns, it does not address their concerns, and they think there should be serious changes to the bill before it is passed.
From the streets to the church to the studio, here they are, some of them: Kanana Koome, Tamara Wachira, and Mike Karani. All of them are YCS members at the Holy Family Maina Basilica. Karibuni, introduce yourself from my right.
My name is Kanana Koome. I am a student at Catholic University of Eastern Africa, and I'm pursuing law.
Next.
My name is Tamara Wachira. I am a student at Multimedia University, and I am pursuing social sciences. I am also the group moderator.
Wow. Pleasure.
Michael Karani, also a student pursuing statistics and data science at Strathmore University. Yes.
Most welcome. Thank you for finding time. Tell us about last Thursday there was a debate in the Parliament. After some amendments, the MPs passed the bill. What do you think about what we call public participation before they voted? Starting with you, Kanana.
Well, the element of public participation is very important when bills and laws are being passed, and it is one of the key pillars in administration, yes? So when we look at that, not a lot of public participation happened. People are saying they didn't know what the bill is, they don't know what it talks about, which already means the fact that they didn't know, it means that they couldn't participate in something they are not well versed in. So in my opinion, there was no public participation, or minimal at least. You could find it maybe on Twitter, but ukienda kule kwa vijiji, wengi wao hawako wanajua. So yeah.
Tamara, tell us, what do you think about public participation? Were youths involved, or how much were they involved in this case?
I think the involvement was very minimal, because we need to understand that in our country, we have vast cultures, vast communities, and we need to be able to accommodate all of them, especially in issues that not only affects us, but them in general, because we live in a country. So for it to get to us, for it to aggravate us as the youth, it means that we were barely informed and involved on the issue. And that is why the emotion is running high currently. So I think the participation was minimal. Yes.
Mike Karani, the bill is very dense, and as youths, you may have come across some parts of it. What do you think is very much relevant or pertinent to the life of the youth as you are seeing it and you are finding it? Some of the elements contained in the bill as far as the youths are concerned.
For this bill 2024, unfortunately, there's nothing I can come out and say doesn't affect the youth. In one way or the other, the youth has been targeted. Because if you look at the Kenyan scope, the youths don't just, you can't say that one youth is in the boda sector. You can't just come and tell us the other youth is their business, they're just doing biashara huko nje. You can't just tell us the other youths are busy studying in school. The youths we have currently, they are jack of all trades. You'll find one youth is doing 10 things. Ako kwa bodaboda, asubuhi ni bodaboda, jioni ako kwa sijui Uber. He has, how they found a car, you cannot even explain. Then in the evening, they are serving at a particular local hotel, trying to meet ends meet. Alafu usiku, hapo saa 10, watu wakiamka, you find ako, ye ni watchman kwa gate fulani, analipwa, you get. So there is no one particular element I'll come and say, ati, this particular finance bill is for youth. That bill in itself, in totality, it's affecting us deeply than any other finance bill.
Ladies, there is something about the ladies. They talked about ladies' concerns. It's not addressed in the in that bill. What is it, and what was that so painful about your life as far as youth are concerned in that clause?
Well, in Kenya, I can say it with a lot of confidence. There is a lot of period poverty, and when we talk about period poverty, it brings about another element of period shame, where girls are not able to access sanitary towels to help them during that time of the month. Now, when you start taxing things like sanitary towels, then that's when you know we're in trouble, because ladies, they need it. It's a necessity. It's not something they can forgo. It's not like a pair of shoes you can say, I'll get it next month. If you need it, you need it. So increasing tax on such things, it's very alarming, especially because now we're at a point where these things, they are very expensive. Getting a good quality packet of sanitary towels will cost you close to 150 shillings now.
Wow.
And we're not just saying people should go for the cheaper option because it's there. We're also looking at our health as women. What do these cheap things do to us? And what we've been told is, in Kenya, the production sector, manufacturing scene, hakuna. Na kama iko ni kidogo sana. It cannot sustain the whole of Kenya. And we can't be ignorant of the fact that there are people in the rural areas who cannot access these things. Some of them, they manage to grow to the point where they're 25 years old. They come to the city, and here's where they're meeting these things for the first time.
Wow.
Now imagine them meeting it when it is 180 shillings. And you don't need one packet, you need two, 3, depending on how a woman is. So that is something that touched many ladies in Kenya. Yeah.
Your view, Tamara, about the same, if you have?
I feel like she's exhausted the points, but just to add on, we need to understand that this is currently something that's being fought for across the world. We are currently trying to fight period poverty. So for you to come and actually go against it, it speaks volumes, because we need to understand that being a nation and trying to focus on women empowerment, we need to also understand how they work. We need to be able to accommodate them. We can't be fighting to have off days for women who are going through different conditions, who have painful periods, and you are here trying to make their life even more unbearable. Yes.
We are talking with some of the Gen Zs after the last week's episodes along the streets and in our churches yesterday. Kutoka kule Kisumu, Mhashamu Askofu Mkuu Maurice Mohatia, yeye pia alielezea kuhusu kile ambacho maaskofu walikuwa wamesema kuhusu mswada huo. Kabla ya Alhamisi, maaskofu walikuwa wametoa kauli yao. Tusikie ujumbe wake Mhashamu Mohatia.
these concerns about the finance bill are not only of concerns by the Gen Z, they are concerns of many other Kenyans. The Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops has already spoken and addressed the issue of the finance bill during the time for the public participation. We've given our views. They are in writing and they're available because they were distributed to the parishes. We also have very serious concerns about the finance bill, and we believe it should not pass in this current state. Adjustments, amendments need to be made for the good of the country.
Sister, kabla hatujaruhusu Gen Z waongee kuhusu ujumbe huo, maneno ya askofu.
Unajua, niseme kwa muda kanisa halijakuwa linanyamaza na tumeliona kanisa likiongea, lakini kuna kasumba ya wanasiasa kuona kwamba watu wa kanisa wanatakiwa wawe pale. You are supposed to be in the pulpit. What are you telling us? Kwa hiyo wanapoongea labda wanapuuzilia maneno yale ambayo tuseme maaskofu wameyaongea. Lakini inafurahisha kwamba kile ambacho maaskofu wamekuwa wakiongea kwa muda sasa, hii generation tunayoiita Gen Z wamekuwa na ujasiri wa kutoka nje na waseme kwamba ni kweli hapo ambapo kumekuwa na tatizo lipo, lakini ni kana kwamba wanasiasa hawataki kuliona. Na ndio maana wamesema tuko tayari, kwa sababu kwanza kabisa sijui maoni yao ni yapi kuhusu msimamo wa kanisa, na mnasikia kana kwamba kanisa linawasaidia kuwezesha kwamba yani matatizo ambayo mnajaribu kuyaongelea, mnasikia kama kwamba kanisa inafanya ya kutosha, labda kanani ama bado kuna kazi inatakiwa ifanywe.
We can see and we can feel the support from the church, especially yesterday. It changed a lot of things for us. Having the platform to talk about such things, hearing that our bishops and our priests are also encouraging us and urging other Christians to pray for us as well, that is support on its own. And we feel like the church could do more, but what we've gotten right now, we are also grateful for it. Yeah.
Tamara, what do you think? The church is on your side. They have said that about that. The clapping in those in Bishop Kamamoe's intro talks about that, shows that you're not just alone. You are with parents, with the church that is feeling with you. What do you feel about that support?
Honestly, for a very long time, His Lordship has spoken to us about this issue. He's always put it in our heads that we need to elect leaders based on their competency, based on what they bring to the table, and they should be just leaders. And even when we go back to the Bible, we need to understand that the church plays an important role. Throughout the period, we'd see kings. Yeah, we had King Saul, we had King David, but they were all anointed by a prophet. And in the current state, we need to understand that that is the role that the church plays. And their stand on something speaks volumes. Because in as much as we'd hate to hear it, they do play the biggest role. These people will still come to the church to look for their voters from there. You see, because we are all brought up in homes that teach us that we need to pray, we need to grow our relationship with God. So when they allow us to speak on such issues, when they go front and also boldly speak on these issues, we are encouraged as the youth, because at least we do understand that the place we look forward to that offers us solace is standing with us in this time. So we feel like they have done something, and we feel like there's more that could be done, but we are grateful that they are open to actually listening to us and taking further steps in improving. So yeah.
Mike, the church and the parents, including some members of parliament, are with you, but there are those who are not with you, as the voting showed. Mnafikiriaje nyinyi sasa?
Based on the constitution, everyone has a right to an opinion, and That's a sure. Everyone, you can't come to someone and force them to be with you. If someone feels this particular end 1, 2, 3 is not, they feel like it's right for them, well and good for them. There's nothing we can come out and start bashing them. Nah, there is the right to the right of having free opinion. My issue would be specifically, you know, there are people who are being forced to say yes. And that is now where we are coming out and saying we are not liking it. We are really not liking it. In the spectrum of our leaders, some leaders, they understand, like they'll sit down, they have read they very well know. They've even been received calls to mwasalimia hapa na pale, whether in vulgar language, appropriate language, yeah, they understand it. But what are they doing? Turning a blind eye. They're exposing their ego. And that's one thing I am really spiteful about it for the leaders. Over the remarks made since Thursday have not been anything to go by. Personally, I can't stand up, go to another country and say I have a leader. Personally, some of these leaders what are they telling us? And the worst part is we are giving them the platform to say those things. Why is it an MP has always had anything to say? When they come to the church, to a social, a wedding, anything, they will always have anything to say. They will come out and say, we as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lakini, if we take them to parliament, go check if I'm not wrong the answered. Yeah? Some of these MPs for 5 years, ameongea mara 3. Na hiyo kuongea ni, mara ya kwanza alivote yes, mara ya pili akavote yes, mara ya 3 akavote yes kwa hiyo bill. Hiyo ni nini? Na unalipwa for sitting allowance. Tunakulipa kukaa chini kututetea. Wewe, you are never there. You are running your own businesses. You are busy thinking of how to make your power to get that tender so that you can supply the government. And mind you, when they are supplying, they're not even supplying anything. We have had cases of supply, they're supplying air.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
You're being paid to supply air. What's that? Then you come to church and you start telling us, oh, we understand your grievances. We know. What do you mean? Yet ukishatoka hapo hiyo nika 2 minutes of faking, then you go out, then you become normal. And that's a tendency we are seeing in these leaders, which is not something to go by. And people will argue and say, yesterday, yeah, that's a Sunday, there was a scene change of heart. I don't call that a sheep change. There's no way a lion will become a sheep in one day. Never. Even if I decided to force a lion to start eating grass, they will never eat grass. So we should look beyond this. And then the worst part is you're using aspects that you know are hurting us. You will start going to the education. You know the education is very much impactful to the country. You will go to the healthcare. Yeah. Why not go to, for instance, the presidents? Tell us, why are you giving money to your wife? If you are going to vote, most of these people did not go to vote for your wife. Your wife is there by virtue of being your wife. Your wife is not a public servant. I still do not understand. 696 million, unafanyia nini? And whatever the other figures you want to tell us, you want to do, oh, we are doing this. Why? The Constitution has stated the roles, what they will do. If there are amendments which you're forcing into it, why are you giving them money? Hiyo pesa si uchukue hiyo 696 weke kwa education. And you know there's a term, there's a side, they are switching, they are flipping it. They are saying if we don't pass this bill, we will have to reduce the education from 3.8 billion to 1 point. Why are you not telling us you will remove the 696 million?
Tunaongea na Gen Z hapa studioni baada ya dhoruba hiyo jana katika Injili na katika mazungumzo ya wengi ambao walizungumza Alhamisi iliyopita. Na hiyo jana katika kanisa kuu la Holy Family Maina Basilica, ujumbe ambao si wa kawaida, maana yake waliweka tangazo. Tusikie walichotutangazia hawa Gen Z.
Is a Youth Serving Christ Holy Family Basilica, and we're here and we have an announcement. Have you taken your time to read the Finance Bill 2024? As most of you are aware, if not all, this bill is not only to overtax Kenyans, but also to promote oppression, which generally leads to a very poor quality of life for most people who are not as endowed as the people who are in power. We also urge you as Christians to take time to go through it in depth, as this is something that affects our nation as a whole. For a very long time, the church has been a pillar of justice and a voice of reason. This too is a matter that the church should stand firm in. It cannot afford to be impartial.
We as the youth welcome you to an interdenominational prayer walk today from 3 p.m. GPO to archive. The support from the church as a whole is an important thing when it comes to ensuring the agenda of rejecting the Finance Bill 2024 is successful. We'd like to thank our shepherd, Archbishop Philip Anyolo, and our Bishop Peter Kamomoe for always openly taking his time to show us the importance of making informed decisions when voting in our leaders and asking us to stand up for justice. We would like to urge you as Christians, pray for us, and to remind you that the enemy is one, the Finance Bill. Thank you.
Ilikuwa hiyo jana na wako hapo watuambie, how did you come to that prior to the message itself? How did you prepare yourself? Did you seek permission? Of course you may have been given permission. Tell us, how was it before you stood there?
As Tamara mentioned earlier, she is our group moderator, and when we felt like the church needed to step up, we consulted her first. And by consulting her, she is the one who presented our grievances forward to our priests, and they were able to talk together, and we were given a platform, and they told us, sit, script an announcement, and let us hear it.
Okay.
And we, all the three of us, we came up with a script. We discussed how we wanted to go about it. We discussed our objectives as well, and we came together and we made what you had us read right there. Yeah.
Before we go to Tamara, sister,
No.
matangazo ya aina hii kanisani. Wakati huu, wakati wa zamani, tuko wapi katika matangazo kanisani? Inatufundishaje jambo hili?
Nafikiri labda inatufundisha kwamba nyakati na muda umebadilika. Mambo ambayo hatukuwa tunayaona yakifanyika hasa kwa kuogopa uongozi wa nchi. Kwa sababu kumekuwa na kuogopa kwingi sana kwa uongozi wa nchi na viongozi wale. Sasa inatuonyesha kwamba muda huo umepita. Na kwamba hawa tunaowaita Generation Z, mimi nimekuwa mwalimu. Na wakati tunafundisha unaambiwa kwamba si vizuri kumdanganya mtoto. Endapo ile ni ng'ombe ama ni buffalo, don't call it cow. It's a buffalo, call it a buffalo, because you are not supposed to cheat that child. Na sasa hii generation ni kwamba ni watu wasomi ambao wanaelewa ni nini wanachotaka na wanakuletea thibitisho kwa siongei tu kutoka kwa hewa. Hii ndio sababu kuu ninasema hiki na hiki. Na ndio maana umesikia wakisema we sat down and we scripted. So we scripted, after that we take, you bring to me or bring to you as a priest, you see the sense in it. So you can see why it is necessary for them to speak out, because whatever wanaongea haiendani, haiko kando na maadili ya kanisa na kile ambacho kanisa linafundisha.
Tamara, take us through your script or your scripting. How did you come to the themes, according to what we have listened there, the call not to be impartial? What does that mean, and what do you expect the faithful to do after that announcement?
Okay, so for a very long time, we've had press conferences from our bishops on certain issues, yeah? And this came about by the silence. Yes, we had the press statement and we appreciate that. But sometimes we need to understand that with this generation, we need something that is digital. You see, if you stand up and you all sit down and make this statement, it shows that you are there with us. So I think that is what they expected, or we as Gen Z expected. Hence the impartiality of the church. Because we cannot afford to be silent at such a time. This is a time where we have all been engaged, we are all united. We have been able to come up against some of the issues we faced in the past. We are not divided by tribalism, we are not divided by classism. We are all there as individuals, fighting for our rights, fighting for a better country, fighting for the betterment of the lives of the generations to come. for our children in the future, for our grandchildren, for the current Gen Alphas, for our parents back at home, for everyone. We are grateful that we were taught from a young age to speak up and to speak out, and that your voice matters. So these things that you taught us are things that we are able to apply currently. And it gave us the courage to actually go forth and say that we feel like you need to actually take a stand as the church. We need to know where you stand because we know how much depth you hold in our country. Yeah.
Mike, tell us, after that announcement, what was the reaction from probably your parents, your colleagues? How did they react to your announcement after the church?
Surprisingly, everyone was happy, relieved. They said we are voicing what, for the parents, most of them can't stand up. They don't have the energy to come on stage, start talking. Leave alone the fact that most of them, unfortunately, were not able to go to school, so they can't put peace words together. So they were very grateful that we took that platform to say something in the church, not outside, because for the mandamanos, it has been outside. Everything has been outside the church. This time we are speaking inside the church, and most of them have grown up knowing the church is that one pillar. Anything can fail. Life can fail, but the church can never fail. And that's the one thing the church needs to understand. The church as a whole, most of the Kenyans rely on the church in one way or the other. Specifically for the Catholic Church, I myself know and understand that the Catholic Church runs hospitals. The Catholic Church runs schools. So in one way or the other, people are affiliated to these schools. People go to these hospitals when they need help, because they can go to a public hospital chased away. But they know there's a pastor, there's a father somewhere who runs a particular hospital they can go to. They can just call them, tell them, I will pay you. They agree on the payment terms, then attend that hospital without having to fear that the person will die or something might happen to them. That is why the church, in any circumstance, not now, not never, they cannot afford to be in bed or being impartial, just being there saying you have nothing to say. You can never afford to do that. Not now, because right now everything is because of the mandamanos. There's a time probably, depending, the scenarios will change. We don't want to see the church just staying there. We want the church to keep up with the government. If there's no opposition, people have been saying Raila is going for continental politics, which is very true, and as by the African Union rules and regulations, he is not able to voice some of the things that might be happening to us in Kenya at that time. That does not mean that we are not there. That does not mean that the government has the time to start doing whatever they want to do. That does not mean they can start stealing money. They cannot start giving us false information. Now that is the time for me and you to start being vigilant. I know most of you are not politically oriented. It's a fact. But as of now, you need to force. You need to make sure at least you know what is your MP doing. What is your MP? Anafanya nini? You see the same way KRA wants to find out what are Mpesa, what are it is not the time to start minding your own business or what MP. Taka kujua, where is your MP? What is your MP doing? MCA analala wapi? Anakujanga kwenyu, amepitia hapo kuwasalimia. Make it a habit. And if assuming we had 10 people in a particular area or constituency, wewe tunapiana tu timetable, mnakubaliana, unaamka 9, unaamkanga 9, unapitia 6, pitia hapo, bisha jua ako ameenda, wenda shughuli zako. Hiyo ni dakika 2, mwingine ingia. In the same way, make it a habit such that historia unakuja 5 years unapotea. Unakuja 5 years unapotea. In between, sijui mtu amekuwa kiishi US, the story of Baringo, mtu amekuwa kiishi sijui a DCA, a commissioner in Kenya. By paper, you are legally a commissioner in Kenya, but you're living in US. Wow. How is that happening? Wow. Kwani kuna jirani?
Ni dharuba ambayo iko hapa studio baada ya kutoka barabarani siku ya Alhamisi na hiyo jana, na tunaendelea kuongea na Gen Z hapa studioni ambao ni waumini katika Holy Family Basilica. Kama una swali kwao ama kwetu, kupitia kwa nambari yetu 0717 424 866 0717424866. Tuko na Kanana Koome, Tamara Washira na Mike Karani ambao ni vijana kutoka Holy Family Minor Basilica. Sio tu vijana, Mhashamu Askofu Mkuu Anthony Muheri akiwa jimbo kuu la Nyeri, na yeye alikuwa na dhoruba ya vijana takriban 8,000 kule Quo-Vadis, na akawa na ujumbe kwa vijana hawa wa taifa letu.
Solutions don't come at a go, they take time. So young people, I want that you keep your hope going and don't get desperate in things we do. So today, with all these young people, we've told them to be strong in their faith. We've told them to be driven by their faith, to be driven by their values, and not to use things and terminologies and slogans that are clearly not positive, they are not godly, they are not value and respectful. When we use those godly values, like today they were saying kuwa mpenda Mungu ni poa. Yes, that's what we want. We want kuwa watumishi na wenye huduma. Ndoto zetu Mungu atatupa. Tunamwamini Mungu. And to avoid all the vulgar and negative things, even when we find ourselves in adversity. So young people, we hold you in our hands. Please also listen to us. Let's find ways we can talk together so that what we are going through, we are able to do it in a way that pleases God.
Wow, Mwashamu Muheri ya kule Nyeri. Sister, kabla ya tuwajaruhusu Gen Z, anaongea kuhusu wasiwe desperate, maana yake kupoteza matumaini, mwelekeo. Waongozwe na imani na maadili, na wachunge lugha zao ambazo wanatumia.
Najua sijui kama watanikosoa. Kuna uwezekano ambacho tumekuwa tukiona ni kwamba kuna kasumba ama kuna tabia ya vijana kupoteza matumaini. Endapo kile walikuwa wanakipigania hakionekani kana kwamba kitakuwa na matunda yake, wanasema tulijaribu basi, wacha tuachane nayo. Ni kwamba if we have decided to go for it, is encouraging them, for example, that we are behind you, tunawaombea na muende kabisa, msipoteze matumaini kwa hili ambalo labda sisi tulitakiwa tuseme, hatukuweza kusema. Na kwa hiyo anawapa matumaini kwamba it is possible. Hicho ambacho mmekianza muende nacho hadi mwisho. Na vile vile, you don't need to be abusive to pass a message. And what is impressing me this time round is that wanaohusika ni vijana wako kanisani kama hawa, ni vijana wasomi kama hawa, ni vijana, si unajua kulikuwa na kuonekana kana kwamba wale wanaopigania hizo haki ama wanaenda maandamano ni wahuni. Kwa hiyo sio wahuni, ni vijana wamelelewa vizuri, wanajua sheria na tabia zote ambazo wanatakiwa wazizingatie kama Wakenya. Kwa hiyo anawaambia kwamba sio lazima tutusi ndio tufikishe ujumbe wetu. Na hilo lingine sijui ni lipi. Na labda kwangu mimi ningependa kuwauliza kina Kanani, kwa the first time the ladies are being seen coming out so openly, something that has not been there in the other maandamanos that we have been seeing. What is it this time round? The girls they don't care. I saw one girl with a bendera, anaitwa sijui nani Wafula yule. Anaongea na askari, amekodoa macho yote. What is it about ladies? And even here, you are two against one. What is it about it, maybe?
Well, yeah, we are ladies two working with one, not against, yes.
Oh, working with one,
yes.
Nice.
Well, we can see the ladies being able to voice their concerns, being able to go to the streets, because in our generation, in Gen Z, we believe in equity and equality.
Wow. Nice.
That is something we're taught a lot from primary school. From the moment you know that I am a girl and you are a boy, just because this is a boy and this is a girl, it does not mean that they do not have the same capabilities. My voice and his voice, same thing. We all are standing for the same thing. And it is lovely to see women coming out and talking and on the streets. Being on the streets, it's not an easy task. I will tell you, I have been there. And allow me to say, I saw Shege. I saw it. Yes. But you know, nonetheless, we are not giving up. This affects us all. This is our society. Both genders are involved. This is our society. Yeah.
Wow. Tamara, your take about ladies being on the front line as much as the men?
I think for a long time, in past generations, they oppressed women. They made women believe that they are to be seen and not to be heard. We have had brilliant women across generations that somehow managed to beat all odds and fight for what they believed in. So from when we were young, I'd like to thank our parents. They encouraged us. They made us believe that just because they were unable to be given this platform, it should not be the same for us, that we can make that change. So bearing that in mind, we've been able to actually voice out. And even the friends we have, the male friends we have, instead of putting us down, they do encourage us, which is something really good. So we work together. We understand that we're all a team. Sometimes what I'm good at would be something that she's not good at, or would be something that he's better at. And with that in mind, we're able to work together as a team despite our gender. And we are encouraged. And we understand that we do need to voice, because these are things that will affect us. Yeah, we are the future of tomorrow. We are the people that will give birth to the future of tomorrow. How am I supposed to bring in a child, bring them to this cold, cruel world, knowing that they're going to suffer? I cannot, I just can't, you see. So these are things that encourage us as women. When we stand up and stand out, there's a time we'll sit back and we're like, yeah, I know my child is safe. I know they will go through something, but they'll be safe at the end of it all. So I think that also encourages us.
Before I allow you, Mike, we have this guy, your colleague, yesterday after the announcement, who was left behind a bit, and then he removed the national flag and made a protest. Do you have that clip, the director?
Reject the finance bill. Reject the finance bill. Reject the finance bill. Reject the finance bill. Reject finance bill.
Wow. Is that your colleague?
He in the interview that followed, he said he's not. And for your answer, he's not one of the members of the church, but he's just a Christian who wanted to use the church as a platform. And this goes back to the question of the church, the youth, and the platform. The church, yes, gives us limited to what to say, how to say it, where to say it, in the fear of, yes, we understand there's the government, there are rules to follow, but the limitation of the church in giving the youth a voice is what was evident right there. Because that person was just, so the fellow youths are there and was like, they're about to go and speak, and was like, I'm also a youth, I can join them, I can also say something, I also have something to say. And that is what led to that. That just goes to show that in as much, yes, we are very appreciative, and don't take me out of context, I am really happy for what the church is trying to do. But this is a conversation that does not end here. The church should start, you see, the same way politicians are given platforms to come lie to us. Normalize giving the youth people. It doesn't, even politicians, I was sitting down and I thought to myself, at times, some of these politicians just want to come, sit in the church and say nothing. Be a normal Christian. But the MC will be like, that is our MP, he has something to say. And they are forced to start stumbling. They'll start stumbling, and that leads to more lies. The same way you view that MP, view that youth. Look at that youth. Does that youth have, for our case, we expressed our will to say something. But it doesn't mean that if we don't come to you, we don't have something to say. Give them a chance to speak, even if it's on Sunday, on a frequent section. Allow them to be free to speak their minds. Don't limit them in the name of the government will do that. Yes, we understand there's a government, and so far it is doing nothing to us. And we are the future government. We are the same people. 15 years, I'm looking at it from 20 years from now. Some of these people will be on the bed of retirement. Who do you expect to come up? We the same people who are here demonstrating, telling you we want to start learning how these things are done. We want to know. And there's a clip, one of the clips somewhere Bishop Kamomoe says about we should listen. Even the bishop from Kisumu said we should listen as a generation, we should listen, and we need to be mentored. But now I have a very simple question. Who is mentoring us? It is good, yes, we are here, we want to listen, but who is mentoring us? In these spaces, very few, very limited people I can come and say, I trust this one. What they are saying, aside from what they are saying and their intentions, the intentions are to the betterment of me 30 years from now. No one. The generation that is currently ruling us, they're only thinking of, if it is not themselves, it is their inner self. It is not, if it's not their inner self, it is themselves again. That's the cycle. So you can't tell us that we listen to people who are just thinking of themselves, yet we are saying we don't want to think about ourselves. I want to think about my neighbor. I am thinking of my friend. I am thinking of my relative. I am also thinking of that young person who is out there and has no voice to be said. No one is paying attention to them.
Tamara, as a moderator, do you approve of that guy's action after your announcement, which was quite moderate and well planned, scripted, you said? And what do you think about that?
Honestly, I understand where he came from. I'm not saying it was the best thing to do, but I appreciate that he joined us on the platform and he did not go out of context. Because you see, especially when you're dealing with young people, we need to understand that we cannot afford to just bash them. I need to understand where this is coming from, what extent was it taken to, and is there something that could have been done better? So I do not fully approve, but I understand. And I respect the fact that he respected the church and he did not go ahead to bash the church. Yeah.
We come to that point because on Thursday, the Holy Family Minor Basilica compound was closed down, and there was a reaction from the media, and then there was an explanation from His Grace Archbishop Philip Arnold Subira Anyolo, which was read yesterday at the Holy Family Minor Basilica. Let us hear how and what was read.
This is a public statement regarding comments about Holy Family Minor Basilica on social media. First and foremost, the Holy Family Minor Basilica endorses the stance taken by the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, KCCB, regarding the Finance Bill 2024. If passed in its current form, the bill will be oppressive and cause immense sufferings among Kenyans. The entrenched corruption within our institutions and wastage of public resources must be addressed. And we acknowledge and share the concerns of Kenyans and fully support their right to a peaceful protest. Given our church's location between the two main roads leading to the Parliament building, and based on information received during the incident, we learned that police officers were present on the streets outside the church, that is along Parliament Road and the City Hall Way. The police presence was not planned by the church. We affirm that the Holy Family Minor Basilica will always strive to be a sanctuary for all people of God and open to the public. The church compound also hosts a school, and we continuously maintain security in accordance with guidelines for children's safety. The church is responsible for ensuring the duty of care for the young ones in the Holy Family Basilica Catholic Parochial School.
Do you approve of the closure on Thursday, according to the explanation given and the example of your colleague? I'll call him your colleague, who was not scripted to do what he did.
I respect the fact that the church went out to actually clarify what happened, but I also feel like they should have at least close the school on that day. I feel like regarding what happened with the situation that was present at hand, what they did was explainable. And we also understand that there were people who were allowed to actually enter the church, and they received water, and they were also able to speak to our administrator on the issue and explain why we put on Colgate and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we also understand that the emotions that are currently out are very mixed, and some of them are coming from a point of ignorance, some of them are coming from a point of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So regarding what happened with them not necessarily being allowed to flood in, we understand that there were children present, and we cannot afford to put their lives at risk, because this is also the future generation.
Mm-hmm.
What might have been done instead was the closing of the school on that day, or when there are such demonstrations. That way we do not endanger the people themselves that work in the church, we do not endanger the students themselves, and we are able to offer some of these services to some of the youth that are out there on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sister, before I allow them again to come on board, the closure of the school, probably what she's saying, and the activities on along those roads, in the parliament, along the road, and the position of the church to be open, and this time to close itself against what they were fearing. What is your take?
Labda nirejelee kile ambaye alikuwa anatangaza. Alisema uoga wao mkubwa ni kwamba kulikuwa na wanafunzi kule ndani. Mie natokea sehemu ambayo from tribal clashed area, and I remember if there is a church that took care of the tribal victim people, is the Catholic Church, and it was always ready, open to receive the people in the church, and that has been the tradition, especially because I come from those areas, and the church has been the place where most of us went to hide and to seek for refuge. So maybe that one, according to what he has explained, for me, their fear was the children were there. And maybe, again, why the school was not closed, nobody imagined the magnitude of the demonstration that was seen on Thursday. And I'm sure by tomorrow, I don't think they will be there, because already now they have an experience. So with that understanding, I understand them. It is not easy, especially if the children are there, because you don't know. They can be people of goodwill, but you don't know those others who are coming in. Who are they? I don't think that we are all Kenyans, and we know we are people of diverse characters. We cannot say because they are Gen Zs, we have seen they are good, all of them have the same character. You never know. Those who are coming in are coming with what motive. But having said that, maybe now...
Sorry, sister, if you're a principal in that school,
yes,
knowing that tomorrow there's a budget day, and there will be possible protest and demonstration, would you have closed the school?
I would have closed the school. And that is, and in fact, I called the sister yesterday, I think. I asked her, I hope on Tuesday you'll not be in school. Apparently there is going to be a midterm, thank God. So they won't be in school. But maybe that is something that was overlooked, because on Tuesday it happened, nothing happened. So they didn't see this one coming. But the number of the people that were in for the demonstration on Thursday, it was too much. So maybe that's why they took it for granted.
Kanana, do you have something to comment about that before we go to Bishop Mohatia's input again? Sorry.
Well, I urge everybody to be patient. We are all, the enemy is one. We cannot afford to be fighting against each other. We have seen the support from the church. Maybe some people might feel like it failed before, but doesn't mean it's going to happen again. We have been told of the reasons as to why they did what they did, which was barring people from entering. And honestly, in my opinion, that was a very valid reason. And in anybody else's opinion, who cares for the future generation? We're not just fighting for our own generation, we're fighting for their generation.
Sure.
And those are children who can be adversely affected. We're not talking about even like maybe theft or insecurity. We're talking about a basic stampede. As a grown-up, if I was caught in a stampede, that's it, I'm hurt. So what about that little child? Yeah.
Tusikie kuhusu ujumbe kuhusu kodi, about taxes, excessive taxes and general taxes, vile kanisa imeongea kuhusu mswada huo hata kabla haujapitishwa. Mhashamu Askofu Maurice Muhatia.
We understand that a country cannot run without taxes. And this one we cannot run away from it. My fellow Christians of that diocese of Kisumu, there's no country that can run without taxes. That's how countries run, through taxation. Kulipa ushuru ndio jinsi ya pekee ambayo kwayo nchi zinaweza kusonga mbele, kutosheleza maslahi ya wananchi. So we are not, as a Catholic Church, against taxation, but we are against excessive taxation. That's what we are saying. We are saying the country is bleeding. It is crying that taxation is getting overboard, and it needs to be staggered in the interest of the whole country. We pay, but these taxes must be rationalized in the interest of our country. So to that extent, I think the Catholic Church understands very well why the young people are on the streets. And we invite the government to reflect on this matter seriously and not to be in denial.
Mike, anasema kwa Kiingereza taxes being rationalized na serikali itumie nguvu zisizofaa ama za kuzidi.
When it comes to the taxes, I view it, you see, when you see a coin has the head and the tail. So the question on tax is, I feel like, means that it's a two-sided thing, as I have stated earlier on. The first side is collection of, the first side is Kenyans paying that tax. No, first of all, the implications, the government coming up with the policies for those particular taxes, then the Kenyans accepting those taxes and then accepting to pay them. Then there's now the other side that people are not focusing on as much as it should be. Where is that tax going? Because as Bishop has said, countries are developing using tax. So what does that mean? My interpretation of that is you collect, you have policies that are guiding the tax, the collection and whatever, what not. Those, they have been accepted by the citizens and the citizens are paying tax. Now we go to the other side. What is the government doing with those taxes? The difference between Kenya and now the other countries that we consider first class, the other countries they have good financial plans. They even use, maybe I'm assuming they use the 50-30-20 rule. 50 for essentials, 30 for whatever, 20 for emergencies. But now Kenya, you find the taxes that have already been collected, not forgetting they never meet. I don't think, I need an expert to expound this on me. Has this country ever met a tax target since independence? I'd want to know. Has it ever met any tax? Because year in, we have this target. Has it ever met? Now, that's another side of the story. The story is, where are you taking that taxes? What is being used to do? What are you doing? We can't see anything, because you can't be telling me, like, for instance, in that finance bill, there's what is it? The introduction of the eco-levy. There is the introduction of eco-levy under the miscellaneous fees and levies, so they have introduction of 7B, introducing an eco-levy, reason negative environmental impact of goods. So that's under excise duty. That bill, if you look at the act that is foreseeing that excise duty, there are so many things, so many collections, so many rules. What is being done about what is already there? Stop adding or minusing. What have you done with those rules? There's money, of course, because since I was born, people have been paying tax. What are you doing with it? We can't be paying tax. You can't be harassing us here. Then you're buying Lexus 570
fuel guzzlers
yenye unakuja kunidanganya after 5 years umepanda juu. You get? So the question is not whether Kenyans, we are fighting this from a very wrong perspective. It's not whether Kenyans are, because najua hadi by 30th watu watakuwa wamelipa tax before this bill has been passed. The question is, where are you taking? And that's where you see the cunningness of the politician comes in. You start focusing on taxes, the country has to be developed. Then the next day headlines, a politician has stolen 300 million has gone. 300 million of what? The story, stop confusing. The enemy is not the tax.
Is people need to stay at home. People with businesses, or we've told our parents, kaa nyumbani, kesho pumzika. Mom, pumzika, amka, kunywa chai, washa TV, angalia kunaendelea aje. Ngoja unione nikimbia pale Nairobi. We are calling it the total shutdown. Kenya tomorrow, and we are occupying parliament. What we mean by this, we are going to be in the streets. We are going to be protesting again. We have not given up. I have a phrase where I say, we are discouraged but not defeated. Misikia vizuri? We are discouraged but not what? Defeated. We have hope that the politicians who said no last week will say no tomorrow as well. And some of the ones who said yes last week will have hopefully heard the cries of the citizens, and they have decided to, mnaumia hivi, I stand with you. You are the people who put me in office to represent you, so I stand with you. So we have hope that some politicians tomorrow who said yes will say no. Because atukufi moyo, sisi, we are, on this particular matter, we are not going to give up. We are relentless. We are rejecting it. We do not want amendments. We do not want amendments. We are rejecting the bill in its entirety. Yeah? And tomorrow we are out there. We are here to represent the people who've fallen in the same struggle. Their work was not in vain as well. We are representing Rex. We are representing Evans as well. We are going to stand up. We are going to be relentless. And we are peaceful as well. It is a peaceful protest. If you haven't seen from the 2 protests that have happened before, they were peaceful. And tomorrow we are keeping the same spirit. Tukiona wametushinda nguvu, kuna wengine wamesema tupige magoti, tuone watapigana na kina nani. Because last week we saw horses. We saw tear gas. We saw water canisters. We heard of bullets. Yeah? And that is not how you combat with people who are peacefully protesting. I don't know if you guys are aware, today there was a protest in town for people protesting, telling Gen Zs to allow their parents to work tomorrow. And nobody, they were peaceful protesters just like us, and nobody hit them with tear gas. Actually, allow me to use this name, Mariamu ilikuwa nyuma yao inawafuata with their banners. Nobody was asking them anything. Nobody.
Queridos hermanos y hermanas, quisiera que en este mes oremos por los que huyen de su país.
In a sector where you don't need to be there, then join us in solidarity. That's what we are talking about. Yeah.
Are you going to allow vehicles to pass, for example, in town?
Yes, we are.
You will?
Yes.
Okay.
On Thursdays when we're planning to barricade the city roads, leading to State House, but nobody has mentioned anything to do with entering town. No. Yeah, please don't misunderstand us.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is Gen Z. We are talking with them here in the studio. It has been a pleasure to have you, Kanana Koome, Tamara Wachira, and Mike Karani, representing millions of Gen Zs in the country, and those who are abroad who are following the happenings here in Kenya. Your final shot, Karani.
Mine is to the leaders. Over the past 1 week, I just sat listening to you. At some point, I'm even wondering, who taught you? Where did you go to school? Irrespective of who you are, what you're doing in life, what are you telling us? Because in all honesty, all I'm hearing is political cunningness. trying to flip the psychology of the young Kenyans who are saying something, filling us with a lot of nonsense. So to the political leaders, kindly start being mindful of what you're telling us. You might take us for dumb wits, as some of you have called us, and Ishongo has even said that, oh, we are arriving in, it's okay, that's your opinion. I can't come criticizing you on your opinion.
Is that true that you went to KFC after the demonstrations?
KFC was the only place that was opening their doors to us after being tear gassed. Unapigwa tear gas hapo, KFC wanawaambia kujeni ingieni, wanawapea maji. How does that have to do with eating?
Wow.
They themselves have closed down. What's that? So to the leaders, be mindful of what you're saying. And your ego speaks volumes. 2022, some of you were very humble. I am even shocked what has happened. Some of you are very egotistic, have nothing to say, expressing a lot of nothing, taking that mic and shunning us. That's just not a Kenyan leader. And that's not the standards of a Kenyan leader. As a Gen Z, you're not even qualified to stand anywhere and be considered a leader. You're just a human person with a position that gives you some privileges. Other than that, most of you are not our leaders.
Tamara, what do you have to say about your final shot as far as Gen Z and your concerns are concerned?
I think we need to understand the fact that we are all here fighting for our rights. We are peaceful. All we want is a better life for every individual. We do not want to be divided. We do not want bloodshed. We do not want war. We are here because we all believe that our voices matter. We need to understand that that constitution favors you, favors me. We need to understand that we need to start being taught on such things. You need to understand your rights. You need to be competent in what you're doing. And we are a team. We are all here in our different capacities, doing different things, fighting for the same goal. And we refuse to be divided. We refuse to be subjected to uncouth ways. We refuse to be ostracized because we are one. We are not just fighting as the Gen Zs, for the Gen Zs. We are fighting for our country in totality. Yes.
Thank you so much. And Kanana.
Well, mine would be, I would like to plead with the Kenyans to stand together because the enemy is one. As Tamara just said here, the enemy is one. We are rejecting the finance bill. This is not the time to retreat nor surrender. We have to keep pushing. We have to be hard because we are fighting not just for our tomorrow, but for our future. Not just tomorrow and unaona kesho. Of course, we know that this bill will be passed, some sections of it will be passed on 1st July 2024, as soon as just the next week, We're talking about our future. We want to be able to secure our futures. We want to be able to have a good quality of life, not just surviving on a small salary and suffering for the rest of your time here on earth, you know? Yeah, we are fighting so that our country can be a place where people are comfortable to grow in, to start businesses in, to grow their families in, because we are not going to be students forever. We want to start families. We want to come and have little children who will come into a nice country where they have opportunities to grow as well. Yeah.
Well, we'd like to thank you so much for finding time, and this is the platform that has given the Gen Zs the platform to express themselves as far as the Finance Bill 2014 was concerned, from Thursday up to what is going on until their 7th day of rage. Sister.
Basi nichukue nafasi hii kuwapa heko kwa nafasi ambayo mmeichukua. Nirudie nilichosema, yale tulishindwa kusema mnayasema. Yangu ni kuwahimiza kama vile maaskofu wametuhimiza, kweni imara. Hilo ambalo mnalipigania, mlipiganie kwa amani kama ambavyo mmesema, na tuwatakie mema. Tuko nyuma yenu, tunawaombea ili kile ambacho mnaongea kisikizwe, hata kama ni kwa asilimia fulani. It's my hope that our politicians, especially those who are Catholic, are listening and are watching us, because we want a change. And a change has to start from us, and the Generation Z has decided the change has to come from them, because we are the change that we want to see. Imekuwa muda mzuri kuwa nawe mpenzi mtazamaji wa runinga ya Capuchin katika kipindi cha Yaliyotendeka. Hadi juma lijalo, mie ni Sister Esther Muturi.
Na kwa niaba ya Capuchin TV tunashukuru kwa namna nyingine Kanana Koome, Tamara Washira na Mike Karani ambao ni vijana katika kikundi cha YSC Youth Serving Christ katika kanisa kuu la Holy Family Maina Basilica hapa kwenye jimbo kuu la Nairobi, na hayo ndio yaliyotendeka kuanzia jana. Na basi tunakuacha na yaliyotendeka katika kanisa lilo hilo, kikundi cha CMA wakiingia kanisani katika misa ya 4 kwa nderemo na vifijo. Wakati mwingine wanaume wa Katoliki hawaonekani, lakini walionekana. Kuna mtu anasema wenzenu walitoroka na farasi wa serikali. Zimepatikana ama bado? Farasi zilipatikana, na tushuhudia kwamba farasi zilipatikana. Kwa niaba ya hawa na vijana waliosimama na kuketi masaa marefu, mimi ndugu Francisco Mkapuchini Peter Waweru. Mungu akubariki na kukulinda. Thank you so much. Wow, that was good. It was good having you. Asante sana.
Thank you.
I hope
Queridos hermanos y hermanas, quisiera que en este mes oremos por los que huyen de su país. Habrá más que viven las personas forzadas a abandonar su tierra, huyendo de guerras o de la pobreza. Se une muchas veces el sentimiento de desarraigo, de no saber a dónde se pertenece. Además, en algunos países de llegada, los migrantes son vistos con alarma, con miedo. Aparece entonces el fantasma de los muros, muros en la tierra que separan a las familias y muros en el corazón. Los cristianos no podemos compartir esta mentalidad. El que acoge a un migrante acoge a Cristo. Debemos promover una cultura social y política que proteja los derechos y la dignidad del migrante y que los promueva en sus posibilidades de desarrollo y que los integre. A un migrante hay que acompañarlo, promoverlo e integrarlo. Oremos para que los migrantes que huyen de las guerras o del hambre, obligados a viajes llenos de peligro y violencia, encuentren aceptación y nuevas oportunidades en la vida.